Okay, in this session, I will start presenting another perspective on the concept of heritage. One that it's grassroots practices by local community as a form of resilience during crisis time. I propose here to adopt the expression of living heritage, and then under the light of this perspective, I'm going to discuss the relationship between the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and the protection of local heritage. My direct observation and interaction with those active in local community in Syria before and during the conflict allowed me to see this paradigm. During the conflict, people lose the basic element of living, and the absence of the state institution that usually carry out services, and under the fragile security and economic situation, local community will try to fill the vacuum resulting from the absence of the state services. Here, people find themselves encouraged to use all their social energy and solidarity to achieve and activate the community resources and the legacy-based knowledge. This is to find solution to problems that directly threaten their lives. The viable solution will then be collectively owned and used under collective responsibility. In fact, it's about interests, answering of local human needs, and the social energy. And by social energy, I mean the connection made with other people, how we work together to solve a problem, make decisions, and how and when we take leadership. Therefore, I focus on the dynamism of living heritage and its ability to adapt and develop itself. I will explain now this paradigm through one case study in Al-Ghab area in Syria. Al-Ghab Plain is a fertile depression located in the Middle Orontes Basin in northern Hama. As we can see in the map, archaeological studies have shown that for many thousands of years, the area of Orontes Basin have been subject to intensive agriculture activity and also operation related to water management. Many sites flourished near the river, such as Tal al-Nabi Mend, Qatna, we are talking about Hama, Homs, Qalat al-Madiq. As indicated also in the map, during the Roman Byzantine period, the area between Apamea, Restan, and Salamieh in particular had intensive a varied water supply system, such as irrigation, channel, canals, and norias, Nahura water wheels. Some of these ancient irrigation, as we see here, facilities have been rehabilitated and reused. Others have been discontinued, like the norias. They are not working anymore. And modern irrigation devices have emerged, like the motor pumps. In this map, we can see both the modern one and ancient one. Till now, water and its management have been a central issue of the communities living in this area that mainly relied on income generated by seasonal harvest, through which the Orontes Basin had, before the conflict, generated about 25% of the total agricultural production in Syria. The towns and villages in the Ghab area are historically characterized by complex communal mixture. We have Alawite, Sunni, Christian, Murshidis. We have really a lot of communal mixture. For centuries, the inhabitants have been sharing the same socioeconomic environment. However, in many cases, as in other areas in Syria, deep-set roots have been fueled the ongoing conflict, such as the economic factor. In fact, in 2010, so before the conflict, most agricultural workers and their families suffered from poverty. The percentage of poverty in agriculture factor is 72%. The conflict in Syria impacted the area further. Starting from autumn 2012, The region was divided between two controls. The control of the Syrian government, which is in the south of the red line that you can see, and the armed group opposition, which is the northern part. About 1.6 million people from the Orontes Basin have been displaced and have found refuge in Syria and in other neighboring countries. The conflict border cut the irrigation channels, causing its drought due to the lack of fuel and electricity to power the water pump. Although it was known that these canals are the vital nerves that connect these areas and keep them alive. In 2017, voluntary groups were able to locally negotiate and communicate by discussing to resolve issues with the parties in the conflict. For many civil issues such as kidnapped people, electricity, robbery at checkpoints, mutually important aspects of daily life. As we see here, they start to work and decide to clean the canals. These informal groups were composed of key people in both opposition-held area and government-held area, some of whom were able to move between the two areas. They were trusted by their respective community and their colleague at the local administration institution. They were able to obtain permits from the local authority in both control areas to clean some of these irrigation channels, maintain the water pump in action, and clear the landfills across the line between government and opposition-held area. The common interest in this cleaning, in the cleaning of this canal, was the need to maintain and restore them so the irrigation water may be available to serve citizens in both areas who are relying or who rely on agriculture. The absence of the state institution because of the conflict made it possible for this community to change the pattern of their relationship with local authority. Just we remember and we know that Syria's centralized government, so they had this place to negotiate and reshape the relationship with the local authority. The relationship no longer involves central control. There is a need and opportunity to make this institution operate in another way to allow communities to make decisions. If we see heritage from this perspective, the way we act to protect it, it will be different. We will not consider heritage as something external, but rather see the heritage is related to us and to our values and our context. Simplifying heritage and not seeing its complexity will make it part from the past, frozen and glorified with the numerous of researches that remain on paper about how to protect it and restore it to the ordinary people's memory. Considering all these things and going back to our title, Understanding Complexity, the Entwined SDGs as a process to protect local heritage, I want to stress that SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are a process, a complex process, and are not separate parallel goals, neither outcomes. By complex, I mean the SDGs are interrelated. One of the goals can't be understood if it's isolated from the other goals. And by the word process, I mean that they are transferable according to each context and according to the development of the context itself. Here I will compare between two intervention scenarios. The first one is hypothetical, which is intervention with heritage protection-based value. The second one is the one that really happened in Al-Ghab plain, that is intervention with community-based value. Let us start with the heritage protection-based value, the hypothetical one. The objective of our intervention in this scenario is to preserve the heritage for the sake of preserving it. We are speaking about here as a heritage about irrigation canals and also the intangible one, the agriculture activities. First of all, in this scenario, we would not have chosen a conflict zone like Al-Ghab. We would, of course, have chosen a safer area. That means we exclude the area that might need our intervention more than the others. Our project would achieve the heritage protection in one specific area and would try to have social impact. By the end of our project, the community will be waiting for another project. Finally, we could say that we reached the goal of having clean water and hygiene, which is one of the SDGs, and eliminating hunger, that is also one of the SDGs. While if we move to the second scenario, I mean the real one, what is really happened in Al-Ghab, which is community-based value. In this intervention was unplanned and not stereotyped. It didn't want to list or preserve heritage just for the sake of preserving it. It doesn't want to be in competition with other heritage. And the word heritage wasn't mentioned even once during the work, but instead to protect their living practices. They reactivated their historical relationship with each other. They used all their resources, knowledge, energy, and they reactivate the municipal council relationship among each other and also with the people. As a result, they managed to impose kind of truce between the both area in conflict area. And they owned the solution, and this is the most important one, they owned the solution, and they increased their confidence in their ability to put in collective solution. They were able to revive the canals, and they were able to come back to work their profession, for thousands of years it was their profession. The wheel that will accumulate successes is already sprung, pushed forward based on what the community has, regardless of the duration of the project and its fund. How many goals did we achieve by turning the equation? By moving away from heritage protection-based value to community-based value, and from result-oriented intervention to process-oriented one. I conclude by saying the heritage can automatically maintain itself without direct need to be frozen between tangible and intangible, between outstanding value and non-outstanding value, neither listed or limited to within the state borders or by the state decisions. In our region, none of these communities will place a high priority on preserving a castle or preserving a craft of mosaic making, just because it's labeled heritage. In fact, living heritage is about answering the needs of the community and protecting the interaction of people to which it belongs. Thank you.